Hello, all my he's, she's, and theys out there, and welcome to The Rebel Mind. This is where we talk about all things rebellious mindset related, from your personal growth tips to rebellious and ethical marketing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren. I'm a copywriter and marketing strategist, and I work mostly with rebel brands and radical change makers who want to do things a little differently and ethically and create some positive change in the world. So I have talked to a few of these brands recently about their marketing, and one of the things that a lot of them talk about is the pain point section. And in traditional marketing, the pain point section has become or had become a more shame-based and sleazy way of doing it. Basically, if you grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, you're probably pretty familiar with this way of marketing. And with an ethical brand, they go around and see those types of marketing and it just like really kind of gives them the ick. And so they don't want to do it that way, but they don't know how to do it differently. And so the pain point section in particular is very difficult for them to try and do. And so, how do we do things differently? You're ethical, I'm ethical, and we're rebels out here. So we want to make some big changes in the world. And let's talk about how we can do pain points differently and more ethically. The first thing you have to do is understand your audience. Beyond the general demographics, what does your audience value? What do they care about? What are they truly struggling with? Not your general assumptions based off of their demographics. Actually dig deep and try and understand where they're actually having the struggle in which your brand fills that hole, helps them with that struggle. Understanding where they are emotionally and mentally will give you some insight into how your product or service truly helps them, and you need to talk with them about that. One of the ways you can really understand where your customer or your audience is to interview them. If you already have a loyal customer base, then try and set up some interviews. You have some people who buy your products repetitively or they're loyal with your service, they're big in your Facebook communities, or they open all of your emails. You have some fans already. See if you can connect with them and ask them if you can do an interview. That way you can ask them in-depth questions about where they were before they discovered your product and how your product or service has helped them throughout their journey with this problem. You can talk to them more about their life and the things that they care about and things like that, so that way you can really understand who and where they were at before your brand came in and how you have helped them arrive in a different situation. This also helps you to leave your own assumptions at the door, because we automatically assume things about people and about their life based off of the information that we see in front of us. And so whenever you're actually interviewing these customers and understanding them on a human level, you can start to leave your assumptions at the door and bring in a lot of that value, that insight into your copy and into your marketing. Also, don't forget to reward them for doing this. This is time out of their life, out of their schedule, because they care about your brand. Like, give them something valuable in return. If you can't have a sit-down conversation with your customers, then send out a survey with some fill-in-the-blank kind of questions, so that way you can understand their experience with their own words, which will help you later on in your writing to use their language and to make your copy more relatable to that specific /right audience. Also, Don't forget to reward them for this too. This is still time out of their schedule. Even if it only takes them 10 minutes to fill out this survey, it's still something they're doing that greatly affects you and benefits you. So give them a little something in return for that. The second step to writing ethical pain points is to use empathy. One of the things that makes traditional marketing so icky to all of these ethical companies is the lack of actual empathy. Sure, they try and use sympathy, but it's more of a facade. Sympathy is more about cognitively understanding what somebody may be going through, and empathy is actually feeling what that person is going through. Empathy requires you to put yourself in the shoes of your customer and not only cognitively have that understanding, but also emotionally feel everything that that customer is feeling and everything that customer cares about. This also changes the way you use your copy because through empathy, you're relaying their pain points with kindness and compassion versus shame and fear, because once you feel where the customer is at, you automatically develop that compassion. Compassion in your writing will always allow your audience to feel connected to you and your brand. It will help them feel seen and understood. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want to be seen and understood. Instead of feeling shittier after reading your copy, your customer should feel understood, seen, and like you truly care. And that is why the empathy portion is so important in your pain point section and why a lot of the traditional marketing feels so icky. And finally, write like you're talking to somebody you love. It's a common writing hack to write like you're talking to one specific person. That also helps you to keep it focused on the customer and use language that is focused on that specific person. Because as we're reading something, you're reading the words like you instead of customer or instead of a broad term. It helps to personalize and humanize your copy. So whenever you're writing anything, you should write as if you're speaking to one person in particular. This is one reason understanding your audience on a human level is so helpful, because you can write to Janet, that customer that you interviewed who has been using your product for years. You know her and you can write to her, and that's going to translate and resonate with all of the people who are similar to Janet. You can also write your copy like you're talking to your best friend or somebody you deeply care about. This will help your copy sound more like a conversation between friends and less like you're talking at them about how awesome you are. We've all been on that date and we check out pretty fast, right? So your customer is going to do the same if you start doing that. Writing your pain points like you're writing to somebody you love with empathy and compassion because you fully understand the shit they're going through and you have something that can help them with that struggle helps you to connect with your customer on a deeper level. It humanizes your copy and is the most ethical way to approach the pain point section of any piece of copy. I hope you like this video on ethical pain points, and if you have something you want me to talk about, leave a comment below and I will make a video on it. And as always, like, subscribe, and share with a fellow rebel, and let's start a revolution. See ya!